Over the past week, the chipmaker tried to dust itself off after a sharp sell-off. Market forces from jobs data to cloud guidance gave traders whiplash, and one notable analyst waved a yellow flag about margins. Last week, AMD attempted a comeback after getting knocked down. The stock had fallen roughly 20% from its August peak before buyers tried to step in and push it higher. That rebound wasn't happening in a vacuum. Softer U.S. jobs data pushed expectations that the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates, which tends to lift risky assets and growthy tech names. At the same time, a blockbuster set of announcements from Oracle about its cloud pipeline sent a wave of optimism through the semiconductor complex, briefly giving AMD some tailwind. Imagine AMD as a prizefighter who got outboxed in the middle rounds, the August spike and subsequent profit-taking, but found fresh energy between rounds when the referee called time and the crowd started cheering. That's the feel of the recent intra-week bounce. Why softer jobs data matters to AMD? It sounds boring, jobs numbers, but these monthly reports can swing whole markets. When U.S. labor data comes in softer than expected, markets interpret that as lowering the hurdle for the Fed to cut rates. Lower rates mean cheaper financing, higher present values for future earnings, and more appetite for growth stocks. AMD, a company with earnings that hinge heavily on future AI and data center adoption, is sensitive to that rate haircut mood. So when August's payrolls underwhelmed, investors dialed up expectations for rate cuts, and that helped spark a broader equity rebound. Growth and tech stocks were among the biggest beneficiaries. Yes, that includes chipmakers that are vying for dinosaur-sized AI data center budgets. Picture a teeter-totter where one end is rates, and the other is valuation hunger. When rates dip even a little, the valuation hunger side suddenly has more weight, and AMD gets to ride up. Oracle's surprise and the ripple into semiconductors. Oracle dropped a very loud and very bullish cloud forecast, big bookings, massive remaining performance obligations, and projections that lit a fuse under the AI cloud trade. The market cheered, and that enthusiasm bled into semiconductors because cloud providers are the single biggest buyers of servers, CPUs, GPUs, power supplies, the whole enchilada. Oracle's guidance suggested more and bigger data center deployments ahead, and that supports revenue narratives for companies that sell the hardware inside those data centers. AMD briefly rode that optimism higher. If Oracle's guidance were a movie trailer, it'd be titled Data Centers, the Sequel, Bigger, Hotter, and with More Rack Units. When the trailer gets applause, popcorn vendors, i.e. the chip companies, sell more tubfuls. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. Why AMD is considered an AI stock. AMD is squarely in investors' AI crosshairs. The company has been building out GPUs and server-grade CPUs aimed at machine learning training and inference, and it's pitching a total system approach, silicon plus software plus racks. That makes AMD part of the AI hardware conversation. If hyperscalers and enterprise customers buy more GPUs and specialist accelerators, AMD stands to benefit, assuming its tech, supply, and go-to-market line up. Reuters and AMD's own announcements over the summer highlighted the company's AI server and GPU plans and how customers are starting to evaluate AMD's offerings alongside incumbents. Think of AMD as an ambitious indie director trying to convince studios, hyperscalers, to fund their next blockbuster. The script looks promising, but the studios want to know box office potential, distribution deals, and whether the director can deliver on time. The analysts note that stung, downgrade, and margin concerns. On September 11th, Erste Group analyst Hans Engel downgraded AMD from buy to hold, citing concerns about operating margins and valuations. The analyst's argument is straightforward. Even if AMD sees accelerating unit demand for CPUs and GPUs in data centers, its operating margin in recent quarters has come in below the sector average, a reality that complicates the growth at any price narrative. In short, revenue growth is great, but margins determine how much cash ultimately flows to shareholders. Ersta's analysis included a comparison showing AMD's EBIT margin lagging peers. Call it the "you can grow fast, but can you do it profitably?" critique. That's a classic analyst red flag, and it's why the downgrade carried weight. To visualize, imagine two restaurants. Both double their customers in a month. Restaurant A hires extra cooks but squeezes profit out of each dish, higher margin. Restaurant B splurges on free drinks and fancy napkins to attract diners. Revenue spikes, but profit per plate is smaller. Investors and analysts often prefer Restaurant A. Operating margin explained, and why AMD's is being questioned. Operating margin is the percentage of revenue left after paying for the costs of running the core business, R&D, sales, general expenses. In tech, margins matter because they reveal how efficiently a company translates sales into profits. And in capital-intensive arenas like AI infrastructure, margin health signals whether scale will reward shareholders or just mask rising costs. Ersta's point, AMD's margins have trailed the sector average in recent quarters. That matters because AI hardware can be a high-volume, low-margin game until a vendor achieves dominant scale or proprietary advantages. If AMD is spending heavily on R&D, go-to-market, or discounting to win share, earnings can lag despite rising revenue. That's what the downgrade was getting at. Metaphorically, it's less impressive to fill a bathtub if most of the water is leaking out the bottom. Revenue is the fill rate, margin is the plug. Where the real risks live. Intense competition, NVIDIA remains the dominant player in AI accelerators, and other players are moving faster than many expected. AMD is trying to close the gap with new GPUs and software, but it's an uphill sprint. Reuters coverage and industry pieces have highlighted misses and pressure in AMD's data center segment that have worried investors. Export controls and geopolitical friction, AMD operates in a global market. Restrictions on exports and licensing, particularly to China, have introduced revenue uncertainty and potential addressable market shrinkage. Investors factor this in. Valuation versus fundamentals. Even if a company is in the AI trade, the price you pay matters. If margins don't improve to justify lofty multiples, the stock can be volatile, as we saw when sentiment shifted and AMD retraced roughly 20%. Cyclicality and timing, data center procurement cycles, hyperscaler capex timing, and customer certification processes can delay revenue recognition, and investors hate surprises. Note this as well. Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night. Who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, here are they that keep the commandments of God, and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth, yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Revelation 14 verses 8-13. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this, I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.